Hi there, good evening, welcome back. My name is Alex. You are joining us for this next session of the Gameplay Livestream Weekender, and we're going to be playing some Mothership. For those of you who don't know, Mothership is a survival horror-based RPG. It has been published a few times in a few different versions by Tuesday Night Games. One person responsible for putting the whole thing together and publishing it. And you might know the game designer from the game Two Booms in a Room, which is a social deduction game as well. Mothership is very much playing on those tropes of survival horror films. It is drawing heavily and extensively from the universes of Aliens, of Predator, of Starship Troopers, of Event Horizon. It is non-specific. So we're not looking at like the Alien RPG, where we are tied in specifically to that universe and that world, so we're drawing on it. But the universe is weird. It does not care for us, and we are going to struggle. I will be your warden for this evening, the game master role, and around the table I have brought together a group of people who have agreed tentatively to be traumatized in a variety of different ways by whatever it is I'm about to throw at them. So welcome and thank you. Some warnings up front. This is a horror game. Although we will inject humour and levity into the proceedings, there will be traumatic events in this, and many of our characters may not survive, and their ends may be particularly unpleasant and gruesome. So if you are not a fan of body horror or trauma, it's Saturday night, go and do something else. Or watch a different stream. We've got others available on the channel if you're watching on demand. With that in mind, one final caveat. Mothership has many versions. We will be playing a game published by Lone Archivist called Primeval, which is a few years old. Since this was published, the Mothership rules have been changed, adapted, updated, and as a result, bits of it don't make sense. So, if you are a Mothership purist, be aware that this is going to be like 90% Mothership and 10% Alex trying to work out what is going on. Like most RPGs, I guess. So, let's do a quick whiz around the table and just introduce ourselves as players. Just tell us your names. If you want to share anything humorous or witty, you are willing to do so, but otherwise, just say hello. Who are you?
Hi, I'm James, or Jimmy. Struggling for anything witty, so I'll just pass on to the next.
Hi, I'm Pat Fines. Never played this before, probably going to die, can't wait, it's going to be awesome.
Hi, I'm Finn. I've already had enough trauma this weekend, but it's time for trauma squared.
Absolutely.
I'm Ruben. I have not played Mothership before, and I expect to die, and I think Alex has failed if I don't.
Oh, fighting words.
And I'm Holly. I've already been terrified by Alex many times, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, it's becoming a theme.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So, blood. No.
Rocks fall.
We start in a fairly simple place, actually. A place well known to all of you, and a comfortable space. Here you are, crew, aboard the intergalactic space vehicle Irreplaceable. An ironic name, perhaps, but one you have come to agree with. You are members of the crew here. Others exist. It is a fairly large vehicle, perhaps a crew of maybe up to 30. Generally speaking, you do not work for one of the major multinationals. You are not a national ship. You are not a representing any particular planet or system or military force. You are instead freelancers, like many orbiting around in the fringes of galactic space, filling in, doing odd jobs, passing your time. You have formed some bonds with each other aboard the cruise ship, but this is not your permanent home. This is a place some of you have escaped to, or a place that simply brings in money to pay the wages for trips, holidays, steps away, phone calls. It is, however, safe. But it is a place where you need to work. There are many ways that you pick up jobs here, but one of them floats up through the online message boards, where jobs that have an interesting dimension, perhaps people are trying to keep them off the radar, or people don't necessarily want to actively say who has put the job out, will use these channels and mechanisms to let people like yourselves know. Who's most likely to find themselves searching comms channels aboard the ship?
I think it may well be me.
Finn, please introduce your character.
My name is Rob O'Bot. I'm an android. I'm the ship's android. And I'm currently on what I can only explain to be an extended vacation from the strip club, bar and grill that I run on a distant moon far away, and I'm currently escaping from some particular hot water that I've got myself into.
What do you look like?
I'm actually quite short, have very pale, kind of leathery skin. I'm particularly old for an android. I'm an older model. And I no longer have any hair. It's all fallen out. It's perfectly smooth. There are no follicles left on my head.
Wonderful. You are trawling through the message boards, and in one of the sort of slightly scummier sides, perhaps one of the message forums that you used perhaps in your older life, a message pops up from a contact that you recognize. A Kesh Demir. A fixer, from what you remember. Often used by corporations wanting to keep things off the books. He is offering to contacts that know him and who have reputation with him, which you know you do, to broker a deal for personal gain, but also for a reward for crew. A ship is needed. A mission is required. Do you respond?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
No, actually, Alex, I think I've decided I'm not going to run over.
Are you sure?
You send a few backwards and forth messages, and the details of the mission are quickly handed over to you through a series of messages. However, there is part of the message which you choose not to share. You bring this to the attention of the captain, a particularly hard done by woman by the name of Samantha, who has plied her trade here aboard the IGSV Irreplaceable for about 7 years now. And a ship-wide vote is held looking to take up this mission. Ruben, please introduce your character.
I am playing former squadron leader RJ McNamara, a well-built, broad-shouldered, tall figure, rust-coloured hair tied back into a ponytail, sweeps over the shoulder, 5 o'clock shadow, slight hallowed eyes. They have a kind of beret head, and they're wearing this simple workman outfit with more militaristic outfittings. One thing being like a tearaway put on again patch with a biohazard symbol, as well as they have gun holsters on their sides, but on one of them is a book called How Manual Treat Your Rifle Like a Lady.
The details of this mission are the basic details of this mission are laid out to the crew before the vote. It seems as though an organisation known as TAG, some of you may have heard of them. They are a huge intergalactic multinational. They are Takahashi Advanced Genetics. They have a research facility in one of the isolated systems on the fringes of navigable space, known as the Eridani system. There is a moon there, originally known as Urin, but colloquially now known as Ur. And their research facility there has gone quiet. Now, Takahashi Advanced Genetics are a science and research organization. And so this sounds like your basic knock on the door and go and check on your next door neighbor kind of mission. Yeah. How does RJ feel about this kind of mission?
RJ feels a little worn out from these kinds of jobs. They aren't a fan of actively trying to get into fights. They think they've been into enough battles and wars that they understand you need to wait out and try other options before you fall into fighting. So this just seems like it's quite simple. They can get this done easy.
Holly, would you please introduce your character?
My character is called Trudy Weatherspoon. She is the scientist, probably a scientist out of many on board. She sort of specialises, she enjoys botany and exobiology. And on the ship, she's pretty professional, pretty buttoned up. She, obviously wears a lab coat. You often find her sort of in the medical or science wing. Normally has her hair back in a ponytail, glasses. If you do happen to spot Trudy on shore leave, she is normally getting rather inebriated on various illicit substances. But she pulls herself pretty together for the job. But yeah, just has a bit of a wilder life on the outside.
Work hard, play hard.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And this primarily involves going to a planet with research facilities, science research, a very basic kind of search through the systems for information about Urin or Ur. Shows that when it was first mapped, it was given its original name Urin because it was a jungle or forest-based moon. Urin, I believe it's Japanese for that. It may not be. It may be Korean. I don't know. I didn't look that up. But how does that make Trudy feel that there might be some kind of botanical research facility element to this particular out?
Yeah, I think Trudy's pleased about that. I mean, I think she certainly has a life outside her job, but she does have a genuine passion for science, and she enjoys. She spent a lot of time in early life, sort of working kind of sort of rougher assignments, not such good facilities and stuff. So it's quite nice to go somewhere that's actually, apparently has some, good setup there.
Nice. Your objectives for this mission, laid out to you by Samantha, the captain, and chosen as a group, that when you get down planet side at least, all of you can expect to be on the advanced party out, are to investigate why the research HQ has been or rather why TAG HQ has been unable to make contact with the Shenkoa research station for a number of weeks. You, and in particular RJ, you're sort of singled out for this, are requested to escort Dr. Watanabe back to a TAG outpost or to a satellite facility nearby. And Pat,
Yes.
please describe your character for us.
Okay, my name's Koblenz, and if the science guys can't fix it, and the military guys don't know where to shoot, and the androids are calculating the least number of people to die, they send me in, and I just hit stuff with a hammer, fix it. If stuff breaks, I fix it. Stick a vibe shelly in it. Works with people as well. I don't usually question stuff, but I've lived quite a long time, so I've seen some business, and I know this lot, and I'll keep to myself. But I can be pretty useful for those who get past this.
The generally sort of surly, slightly seen it all attitude.
Yeah, he's an older guy. He looks like he's just been dug up from an Australian opal mine and had the dust blown off him. He's a bit obsessed with androids. He comes across as being like he doesn't trust them, but keeps on looking at them, and he's clearly very interested in them. And he's got a pamphlet called hold on, let me just find it. It's something like Androids, the Overlords. That's here somewhere. Yeah, pamphlets, Android Overlords. Which makes you think maybe he's a bit funky about androids, but it's a well-thumbed volume.
Is it propaganda? Is it counter-propaganda? We'll never know. You'll never know.
There's just like you'll catch little moments of him just sort of maybe looking at Robobot, kind of maybe making a few notes, and but he's like technically he can fix, as long as it's not too computery, he can fix pretty much anything. He's the kind of backup. Doesn't work, send Koblenz in.
You are pulled aside by Samantha as part of the mission briefing and told, look, Koblenz, there's one final part of it that's important. We've been asked to retrieve the genetics research data hard drive from the server. Shouldn't require anything particularly computery. I know that's not your strong suit, but it is a mechanical and wires thing. So
yeah, I can pull a drive.
Yeah.
I mean, I might need a little bit of a pointer where it is, but I can open pretty much anything.
Well, I'm sure if you need a hand, Robot will be able to point you in the direction of the correct neural network systems.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Right, there's your objectives. It's an interesting setup they've got, but it's come through on a stranger channel, so I guess whatever's going on down there, TAG, if it's them, or some other corporate, don't want everyone to get wind of it. Probably should be prepared for the unpreparable. But for now, good luck. We'll set course. Should be there in a brief period of time. Time passes. Some of you go into stasis. Some of you come out of stasis. Some of you don't need to go into stasis and continue your thesis. However, you arrive here in the Eridani system. Change page. The ship drops from hyperspace, and you find yourself on the edge of the Eridani system beside a planet 51 Eridani B. Second planet from the sun. It's a Jovian planet, gas giant, swirling, twice the size of what we would know as Jupiter in the solar system. Vast. Around it, you see a single moon. Urin. There is also a data buoy floating here in space, ready and waiting. I would like someone to roll me a d10. Someone who might be... Let's go with our robot. If you've monitored comms before, and this is a mechanical thing as well. Give me a d10, please.
A 10.
10. Whew. Good. The data buoy is operational. There is indication that this area is prone, in particular, to ion storms from the upper atmosphere, as well as the occasional solar flare from 51 Eridani star. However, it seems as if this data buoy has been put here in a smart spot and has avoided any particular damages recently. And it is still transmitting signal to ships entering orbit. Your screen flashes up. Or no macrofauna has been found to exist on the moon of Ur. However, it is filled with vast megaflora that reproduce through explosive pollen and spores. It circles in a high orbit above 51 Eridani B's northern pole every 42 days and receives light from the system's subgiant sun. As with many jungle biomes, it is warm and humid with dense foliage and tree cover. Unlike the methane-dense planet it orbits, Ur's atmosphere is very near to Earth's norm. Though no macrofauna is reported, it is covered with microflora and megaflora that reproduce via these explosive pollen and spores. The air is not toxic, but reports have been made of difficulty breathing if exposed to the atmosphere for extended periods of time. Research conducted by the Shen Koa facility has focused predominantly on rumoured regenerative properties of Ur's megaflora. A diagram of Dr. Watanabe's notes is included in a zipped package. It appears to contain research, but it is encrypted with an 8.2 gigabyte encryption. And only a successful hacker would be able to crack this one open and make the datagram available. There also seems to be a stored, garbled audio recording message that tracks from, you would guess, a few days ago on planet side. moon side. It says, to any inbound ship, correct the creep from jungle, please send help, send help. Ah! Jimmy,
Yes.
please introduce your character.
Sitting in a bunk, kind of staring out at the void of space, is Alessa Valenti. She is dressed in her heavy-duty kind of work clothes, with a kind of set of dungarees which are only ever done up on one side, and that strap is then pulled over the other side. Her hair is tied up with a length of red ribbon, very kind of Rosie the Riveter. There is a gently kind of thrumming from her little droid Phipps, and running up and down her shoulders is a rat, with a white rat with a kind of a black splodge around its head. She stares out into the void, knowing that this is... You shouldn't believe the noise. Good will always prevail. And Alessa's just looking for the good in the world. She kind of sits and just dangles her legs off the end of the bunk, and then looks down at her worn patch, which has made its way onto every item of clothing she's ever owned, and it is this ragged, threadbare patch, and over the middle of it is the single word, volunteer.
Captain Samantha kind of looks over at you, looking starry-eyed out into space, and says, well, I'm sure you don't mind that, kid. Nothing like a screaming message from an unknown planet in the void to really give you some pep and vim in your step.
Well, how bad can it really be?
Well, I mean, you can tell me.
I think you'll find that you've just got to give people a chance, and I think there's a perfectly reasonable explanation to all of this. I think we're going to be fine.
That
know it.
is the kind of positive can-do attitude that I like on my ground team. However, before we get to that, I think we need to bring the ship down. It looks like no docking spaces, so we're going to have to go atmosphere for this one. Looks like it could be a particularly bumpy ride. You're a pilot, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Wonderful. Want to navigate us down?
Of course.
Excellent.
With kind of wide eyes of both excitement and a little bit of apprehension, I step over to the controls.
I would like you to roll me, first roll of the game, I would like you to roll me a... actually, you can decide. What do you want? Which of your skills do you think this falls under? Is this intellect? Is this strength, speed? It's not combat.
So this is for stepping up to the controls and
It's going to be
manipulating.
a skill check. You're going to add your piloting,
Okay.
which is
Well,
going
I
to give
think
you a
it would
plus,
be.
but
I think it would be. You say it's going to be difficult to navigate down. I'd say this is more of a kind of a skill thing, a speed. You know, trying to navigate this sweet puppy down to the ground.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Good.
So you're going to roll a speed check, and you are also going to add your, is it plus 15 for piloting?
It's a
It's one of your
It's not-
master
it's
expert skills,
It's
or
an
is it
expert skill. So
expert,
plus
not master.
15.
Yeah, expert is plus 15.
plus
So
15? So you are going to roll your D100, and you are going to roll. You need to get equal to or below whatever speed plus
Okay.
15 is.
So I'll start with the D100. That's 10 and a 0. So that's 10.
10.
So I need to get below 10.
No,
Hmm.
you have 10.
Oh,
And
Okay,
you needed to roll below
44 plus 15.
59. 59. So you succeed. That is an absolute success. It is not a critical success, unfortunately. If you'd rolled an 11, you would have got a critical success. However, during your...
So why?
that's how critical failures and successes...
You need to roll an 11.
Critical failures and successes in this game work as such. If you roll the same number on both dice and succeed, it is a critical success. If you roll the same number on both die and fail, it is a critical failure.
Yikes.
Yes.
Could have been a short game.
Crash! Kamikaze! Fun.
As you bring the ship down through the atmosphere, you can see that storm clouds roil across the planet. Certainly on this side from where you're approaching, and all of the data that you have about where the Shenkoa research facility is seems as though it is blanketed beneath a large electromagnetic and physical storm that seems to be moving through the upper atmosphere and also playing havoc and impacting on the ground below in the form of thunderstorms and rain. An ion storm in the upper atmosphere wreaks havoc with the electrical systems in the ship, and it is fritzing, and you are struggling to control it.
Good thing I'm going off the feeling. With an intellect.
Can you roll me a d10?
I can. 8.
8. Lovely. At some point, the overloads from the ion storm become too great, and a explosion of sparks in the cockpit here on the bridge means that you know and understand that in some way the computer's mainframe has short-circuited, and the ship is currently struggling. It looks as though landing is the only option, and repairs are going to be required in some way before you are able to move off world again. I'd like everybody to roll me a fear save. D100, roll lower than your current fear.
I 32, so I succeed.
Succeed.
8, so I succeed.
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 56. Fail.
Fail. You two busy paying attention to what is going on.
Oh god.
And
so well.
your stress level is going to increase by 1.
That's already high.
Mm-hmm. Goes up to 20.
Oh, that's fine.
The ship shakes and shudders. It kind of drops down through what you can now see is like pouring torrential rain and like sheet lightning that flashes past what few windows you have out to the universe and the world beyond as you crash down. As you move over, sensors blink in for a brief moment in time, and you are able to see the Shenkoa research facility. It is a small, somewhat dilapidated compound of transportable units interconnected by very short halls and passageways. It's modular, designed like most research facilities to be easily to pick up, easy to move, easy to drop off, and in some respects easy to abandon. Replaceable. It is, as you search through looking for a landing space, however, you see on the top of it a landing pad currently occupied by a smaller ship that seems to be parked there. Somewhere else on planet side will be required. And as you pour over the top of what is an indescribably dense and vast jungle. It seems as though options are few and far between. In your stress and panic, there is a moment where you think that you are probably just going to have to crash directly into the canopy and take your chances. But a moment's skill, a little luck, and of course, just some willing of the universe, you spot a slightly thinner area of clearing, where perhaps the overgrowth of the jungle has thinned out, and instead the undergrowth has been given space to thrive. And you bring the ship down, juddering and shuddering, to a landing.
This isn't where we die. I knew it. Never a doubt in my mind.
Well, ship's fucked. Computer's offline. We reckon it's going to be probably about 40, 60 hours. Repair's going to need to be made. We're going to have to pull the parts out of storage. You got time, at least, on your side. You got the mission, you know the objectives. Looks rough out there.
Nothing we haven't dealt with before.
Well, let's hope so.
Just move over to that was real smooth piloting, kid, I must say. Everyone gets the shakes now and then. I was squadron lead. I think you have places to go with that kind of skill. So.
Well, it's a big universe, and there's a place for everyone.
Hopefully you find yours.
Here's hoping.
We're all alive. So I think Alessa is just like, it's like, that's better than some landings I've been in. Come on. Don't pin yourself down.
Any landing you can walk away from is a good landing.
Yeah, the robot gets. Sorry. Analog person. I don't know.
So,
Time to go.
Yep.
let's go and knock on their front door, shall we?
I'm not going to lie, you guys seem a bit reticent, so I'm going to need one of you to take point on this one. Who wants to be expedition lead?
Oh, I don't mind if I take some headway on this mission, but only if it's okay with the group. We should all be a team, I think, in this.
Oh yeah, totally. But you know, like the guy with the big gun, like just historically.
Historically, guns end in quite bloody situations. I aim to keep us out of one.
That's good to know. And I'm like, Koblenz is doing up his hazard suit, like really carefully.
Donning a very heavy-looking set of armor, just like equipment over the eyes coming over, whilst I attach a big gun to my back.
Koblenz looks at his much smaller vibe shetty. It's like,
It's impressive for its own thing. Witness a big jungle out there. I'm not going to shoot it all down.
well, yeah, I can hack through some of the undergrowth. It's just if it hacks back, that's on you.
Alright.
Right.
I slide on my bright pink jumpsuit that has bad bitch written across the back.
Oh!
Yes, you are.
Oh, you bet.
Seeing all of this, Alessa, looks at the piddly little kind of electronic screwdriver she has. Puts it in, and then Ruby the rat comes to her and looks at the very heavily armed people and the people that look like they're made for it, and then
Oh, you've got a little fellow upon yourself.
this is Ruby.
Oh.
She can read people.
Read people?
Yeah.
Like a book?
Exactly. There's not as Ruby's sitting and little rat upon my hand as I kind of bring it up. She can empathetic.
Oh.
She can read people.
And does she normally come on ground missions, or?
She goes wherever I go.
Wherever
Oh.
you go. Well, do you
How-
have like a pocket? Like a...
So in the front of my dungarees,
Kangaroo,
there
I
is
see.
there is a single big pocket at the front, and then Ruby comes and sits in it.
And how many rats have you had?
So just gently kind of
That's
my
a bit
hand.
insensitive.
Yeah, I just gently
Sorry.
kind of looking at my
Sorry,
hands
just-
over the top of Ruby's head. And like,
She says,
Careful, there's minors present.
she says, this is the 12th rat this week.
Oh no.
Shuttle bay, doors open, and you see just sheet rain. Drops down. It is wet. And it is dense with foliage and undergrowth. Other than the roar of the rain, the beating and hammering of it on the lowered runway, ramp, whatever it is, there is no other sound.
roughly how far away? I said park. As in when I bay parked, roughly how far away? We would have some idea of,
Yeah, what information you could get out from the computer systems before they fritzed out, and from your eyeballing, you reckon you've come down probably about 8 clicks away from base, and you know from past experience that would take you usually about 4 hours to travel on foot, but given the denseness of the undergrowth and given the general weather conditions, it may take up to 6 hours.
thumb through the strap of her dungarees, strides off into the rain.
Oh, well.
Kablins is putting his like the finishing touches to his hazard suit, his like air filtration,
Yeah.
his like IR goggles, and like vibe shit, and you're just like
Dora the
Roger and
Explorer.
Meanwhile, I flipped the last of my military grade equipment down.
As I
Kids.
wander out into the rain, I'm just like that to stop my eyes from getting drenched.
I say to RJ,
RJ, mate.
that rat's gonna turn into some freaky shit if there's DNA out there.
Oh, it's gonna go awful.
I don't want to upset her.
I don't want to ruin the kid's day.
Yeah, totally. But like,
What? We know.
yeah,
At least.
yeah, sure.
Oh, and then I give one final Vips, and the little salvage drone.
What the?
Whoa.
Does your drone fly or does it scuttle?
It has an anti-grav thruster that is mostly functional, and so it has a kind of a vague gambling, hovering. So it kind of like a bumblebee. It kind of just like it can't keep its space really well in the exact air. It just kind of follows like a big bumblebee dog.
I'd prefer fully functional next time. But I'd say.
Well, what did
It
you-
depends. Like, we don't want any wear and tear of the jungle. May just be a little much, maybe on this poor little hello here.
I don't know what you mean. Vips, come on.
Crap.
Yeah.
Under my breath.
You're gonna die. I knew it.
What are you wearing?
Trudy is wearing, well, I've got sort of scrubs, but I feel like it's kind of like a light kind of jumpsuit. It's not really anything sort of very hard wearing, but it's basically just like, yeah, just sort of my scientific sort of outfit. I've got sort of a little black backpack on my back. I've got an oxygen tank for myself, not for you lot, and I've got some auto meds and a scalp in a side pocket if it comes down to that. So yeah, I think quite, traveling quite light. Don't need a big gun on this thing. That's not what I'm into. I've probably got like a few canisters for soil samples or something.
Full hazmat suit?
Yeah, like he's got like park ranger, space park ranger. He's got a backpack. He's got all kinds of random stuff. Yeah, goggles, filtration, spanner, flashlight, first aid kit. It's got camping gear, which he sort of, just before he walks out, is like, I don't think I need a tent. But it's a space tent, so yeah, I can carry it. Okay. So you just like big backpack, full.
Better to
suit
have
with
it
a
and
whole-
not need it.
Yeah.
Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Absolutely. Okay, Dora the Explorer here, full hazmat suit.
Come on, boots.
Just skin on, just impervious to the conditions.
I mean, I just think, like, at this stage, just my, like, you know, the leathery old android skin that I've got, like, you know, there's no cell regeneration here. It's just whatever I was equipped with when I was made. And, you know, older model, bit clunky. I'm just like, you know, frankly, whatever kills me is just the least of my worries.
Fine. And we've got Optimus Prime over
Yeah.
here. And Space Doctor.
We've mixed all the genres.
Yeah.
Now, Jormo, tell us.
Awesome.
Swiper, no swiping.
You head out.
Where's the map?
You head out into the deep and thick, dense jungle foliage. It is tough going underfoot. There is a huge amount of plant life. A huge amount of plant life. And as the research boy kind of put out, a lot of it is huge, mega flora. Everything that you see is oversized, giant. You recognize things which are akin to species of plant that you have seen in labs, and at first you are confused and like you think you don't recognize it. It all seems bizarre and alien. But after a few hours, 2 hours or so, moving through the jungle, you start to recognize elements or parts of bits of the repeating foliage of these plants. And you realize that what you are seeing is on a giant scale, something that you are used to seeing on a minute scale. Small plants that are in other settings, kind of sweet or pleasant edible plants, have grown to the size of jungle trees. They have been allowed time undisturbed by the animal kingdom to move and evolve and settle.
Does this look like Earth? Like, in the sense of all this plant life transferred there and then it's just gone crazy, or native to...
Elements of it, I'll say this, the elements of it that remind you of Earth-like planets are so bizarre and huge that is somehow more disconcerting than the alienness of elements of the plant life. There are some plants here that you have never seen, have never encountered. But then, like, you will stumble through and find a giant redwood-sized plant that looks like a solid, giant, wide piece of bamboo. And as you get up to the top, you can see this huge, spore-covered, like, swaying dandelion head type thing.
Yeah, I think if Koblenz is checking that out, he will see Alessa and Trudy faces uncovered, and will use some of his first aid kit to to offer like a kind of face mask, unless you've got like a surgical mask.
Yeah, I think I've got like I've got a mask that comes with my oxygen tank, so I'm guessing I can put that on, but not be necessarily, I don't know if that's going to be.
Yeah,
Some.
yeah, I would say it's like kind of like a respirator. It will have filters in it that you might not have packed many replacements, because you don't normally use it as an air filtration device. You use it usually more to half oxygen. But it certainly does some of that. A little fabric might help.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, well,
Much appreciated.
just giant mushroom.
Oh,
Like,
trust me.
I'm not paranoid. Well, I am. Yeah, I'm a bit paranoid. I'm not that paranoid, but I'm paranoid enough that I don't want you to die.
Well,
See, there's a nice soft centre in everyone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
apart from plants who sort of distrust you in their environment and would kill you if they could, and these ones certainly could.
Oh. Yeah, we prefer to keep the soft scent on the inside. Why you have hard exteriors.
Alessa will take some of the fibre gauze and then pull it under the one of the three distinctly different neckerchiefs she wears, and pull one up, kind of like a bandit mask sort of thing, and then pack the inside with this fabric.
Wow.
Does the rat get one?
Yes.
If there's a little bit of extra gauze, makes a little kind of Santa Claus thing, and then another next.
Put it in a sock.
The rat fully eats that bit of gauze.
See you struggling, like kind of like.
You're not gonna have enough gauze to keep that in.
In the end, I just push her down into the pocket of the dungarees, and then shove a neckerchief in to just kind of just trap her in there as just a vibrating bulge.
Whoa, the five shitty.
It's been infected.
You continue onwards. Another 2 hours passes. And I'd like all of you to roll body saves. I will allow everyone to roll with advantage. So just roll 2d100s and take the lower number.
Good.
It's a failure for me.
Got a 36 and a 77. But I needed to get under 37.
Oh,
Nice. That's a success.
Yeah, I got
just.
26, and I needed and I had to beat 27.
Nice.
Sweet.
Success.
7.
That's a success.
I needed to beat 33 and I got 32. So just.
How did we?
Success. You've got a failure over here.
not a critical one though. It was the first one I rolled was a 77, so I was
Despite the rain, the further you journey and the deeper you get, especially once you get out of the part where you kind of came down on the ship, and in the deeper under the massive like the canopy area of the jungle, where the rain falls less on you and more kind of around you down the trunks and very wet underfoot, you become aware that this area, as predicted, is filled with spore and pollen. Somehow, your attempts to deal with what you have done have provided some limited support here, but your respirator, not really doing what it's designed for, struggles, and you notice around the cracks at the edges. After a period of time, there is like, when you take it off to check the filtration within it and replace it, the rest of you can see like marked down on the cracks of the edges here, like almost like trails of spore that have kind of come in and stuck to sweat as going in towards your mouth. You're feeling tight, slightly asthmatic, by this thing. Something else is going to be required to improve your situation, as you can sense this growing tightness in your chest.
Trudy there, you don't look so hot in this moment. You...
Yeah, I think it's this mask. It's a bit of a it's a bit of an older one, I think.
Yeah, the handkerchief seems to be doing a better job.
Yeah, it's pretty
I've got a spare neckerchief if you'd like.
Yeah, maybe if I wipe some of this off and then sort of try and maybe stick one of those in. I don't think these are doing shit. Yeah, if you stick it in instead of the filtration, yeah. Not instead of the filtration as well, maybe.
I'm assuming in my first aid kit there'll be like some antibacterial wipes of something of that nature. So I'll offer one if there is one. Of course, I'm using this thing up all so quickly.
Yeah, I give you a neckerchief that's got kind of, you know, fleur-de-lis, purple and gold iconography that smells very much like rat.
Oh.
Like, and the first few breaths you take, you get rat hair.
Oh, contrast the pollen. I get what I'm thinking over there. It's a real good.
You get used to it eventually.
Thanks. I've also got on me. I've got some auto meds, which are nanotech pills to give me advantage on body saves. So maybe too early to use those, but I don't know that. So I'm gonna take one of those. So.
Certainly doesn't seem as if this spore and pollen is going to let up anywhere, and from what you have seen of the planet and heard of it, you know, where would it go? It would be less where there are fewer plants and the entire planet is covered in plant. I would like, who in this circumstance is our chief navigator?
He feels pretty confident at navigating.
Surely the pilot, right?
I mean, I know where I landed, and I saw the landing spot. So
You're going to make you do every significant roll throughout the entire evening.
It makes it a lot easier on
We're
our
just
behalf.
like along for the ride.
I mean, unless you got some kind of object permanence, you're like, the ship's gone. We didn't land in a ship. What do you mean?
We've always been here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I think
Well, where they've gone?
I think Alessa would understand vaguely which direction we need to go in. Obviously, we might get turned around by the undergrowth, but I think she's she got anything. I mean, she's good in 0G.
Come on, Jordan.
There's very much G here.
Yeah, if
How much G is there here?
Roughly 1.
Okay.
oh damn it!
Cool.
Can we have 0?
Oh, I've got 1G.
No, I will. I haven't got any skills that they would give me a bonus on in the thing.
I'll put myself in the firing line here a little bit. Koblenz is very strong and has a vibe shetty, so if you direct, he will make a path. So I don't know if that.
I think you know, Alessa is very much like, you know, doing all the various things that people that do navigating do. Whether or not she's actually doing it right, maybe you guys aren't sure, but she
Yeah, I trust your expertise.
If it's that, then.
You were the only one looking at the big window when we landed.
Yeah, listen.
And then most people here go.
As a former pilot myself, this is very accurate. What
I'd
goes
like
on in
you
your mind?
to roll me an intellect check. I'm going to give you advantage because the directness of your path that you are able to forge makes it easier to head in a straight direction.
Okay.
You can see where you came from.
Got to beat 39. Got to
Less likely to get turned around.
can't beat 39. The first one is 54. The second one is 65.
We're dying in a forest.
I'd like you to add a point of stress.
Is anyone else going to get any of that?
We'll cut in the action when we feel like it.
Told you what we're doing.
I'm starting to think that knowing the perspective of this forest isn't helping us get any
My
closer
God,
to
he's
the
got
compound.
object permanence. You were right, Rob.
Wait, did you guys want to go to the compound?
Oh no.
Where have
We
you
go
been?
back. We go back to the ship after the mission.
I thought the directive was just go in circles.
What do you think would accomplish by such shenanigans of tomfoolery?
I'm having a great time. Are you guys not having a great time?
One of us has got spore infections vibing in our system.
Yeah. Yep. So I fail that.
I'd like to know if, as I have a skill in computers, can I reprogram your salvage drone in any way? I mean,
I
assuming.
also have a skill in computers.
Oh.
So
Oh,
it'll be a
computer
contest
boys.
in who's the best engineer.
I mean, all I'm saying is that maybe maybe we could overcome our ego and work together.
Oh, I love a bit of working together, and I'm suddenly aware that actually the android's probably better at computers. Because
I don't
they're
know.
an android. Well, don't you get like a massive bonus to intellect? Isn't your intellect like 80 or something?
You weren't there for when the stats were
No. I can tell you one thing. I have no fear. But
I have no fear.
Spirit.
yeah.
The drone Phipps, the salvage drone, is a kind of a motley assortment. If you request to have a look and see if you can't find an inbuilt compass on it or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'd assume it at least have some kind of like image navigation, and it'd probably be able to like, I mean, I'm assuming we're on a rocky planet, right? So there's probably magnetic poles to navigate by. So
Good assumptions.
Do we
yeah.
necessarily want to go that direction, though? Is that the direction?
no, but you
though?
can
You can use
We
that.
know we need to go vaguely southeast or something.
I've got pretty good mechanical repair.
I've got a drill. So I can get that plate off for you.
Yeah, we can try and.
Do you want to try and do this? Do you want to try and tinker with your drone to give it some kind of extra juice that might help you in this particular circumstances? I mean, you have failed. In
I
this
have
particular
failed,
moment,
indeed. Yeah,
but
I'm very
assuming
very
you will have to
protective
try
of-
again at
I'm
some
very,
point
I'm very
in the future.
protective of Phipps. So obviously Yeah, okay, Rob. Be careful, please.
okay. I mean, what are the barriers to me actually doing any kind of computer work on this thing?
Rain.
Right.
Maybe
mean,
we can
most-
find a big toadstool.
Most electronics work fine in water. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that like surely if
assemble my pop-up
we're
tent.
able to travel through space.
I assemble my pop-up tent.
Okay.
Come on!
A dry space to
We've been out here 5 minutes and you get to pop out.
yeah. We're lost. Tent.
I'm
captain
using
looks from the
every
ship.
item.
We are not
How
far
are you
enough.
guys getting on? We're lost. We've got asthma. We can't pick.
All right. The android and the android hater crawl into a tent together. This is not.
I'm standing there like I'm waiting outside the hospital room.
Yeah.
Like an operation.
I'm standing
I
outside the
opened the
hospital
door,
room
opened
coughing
the
like
door.
I'm waiting to get in.
It's like.
I'm here.
I'm shipping them.
Yeah, so I've got some great news. It's a droid.
We know that. But did you fix the issue at hand?
Okay. Well, I'm assuming we briefly assemble. I mean, I'm assuming it's like a pop-up tent, right? You
It's
you
just
wouldn't.
a
Oh,
It's
yeah.
modern
let's
space age
pitch in all
technology,
together.
It's
Set it up.
camping gear
Right.
of the future. I'm
Right.
imagining it's like
It's not going to be us dragging guide ropes out for the next
no,
3
it's
hours.
all like nano carbon fiber. You literally you take this thing out of your top pocket and you go like
Oh.
tent.
it's like hexagonal probably.
So it's like-
futuristic
It's
shape.
like casting tiny hut, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
It's
really
a really marvelous bit of
Getting
technology.
it back down
Oh.
to that. Oh my
So
god.
yeah, a marvelous bit of technology, but we still have to hammer in the 10 pegs. that can't be. That's
blowing
too,
away.
That's too advanced.
Oh god, they go.
Yeah. We can't have weight. You've got to add weight to it somehow. I'm going to ask you to roll me. It's going to be an intellect check.
Yep.
You're going to add your +10 for your computers, and I'm going to give you advantage because so many of you are involved in this process that it would be churlish not to.
Okay. So that's a 58 I have to beat.
Oh God, right. I start to feel like I've got.
32.
Well,
So-
again,
You the smartest.
I think I am. Yeah.
36.
36. Still a success.
Just the one
Um,
thing.
The thing with these drones, is that they're usually pretty good, even the newer models, but they always require firmware upgrades. And the problem is that people they don't like plugging the cables in and doing the firmware upgrade, and they just assume that they work perfectly normally, like magic. And this is maybe at least like 3.5 iterations behind where it needs to be. Classic young person, doesn't look after their tech properly, and you're able to see that, and immediately, like, you've got those drivers, download them, upload. It has this drone now has additional range to some of its capacities, and it also has been uploaded, it seems, with an interface for a comms network, allowing it to act as a kind of shortwave radio way station between different parties.
So can we ping back to the ship and get navigation off that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, does this work? I have my own short-range comms. Like, if I speak, could I then use fibs potentially to communicate if we were to say in separate locations?
Only if someone else has shortwave or has So the two of you could communicate over. I mean, you were always able to communicate over a fairly short distance, but now your
Yelling.
your range is
In the
double
next
room.
as long as
Hi.
the droid is in the
Yeah.
middle.
On top of that, does anyone else have like body cams? Does anyone? Just 'cause that's potentially.
There's a cam in the drone.
There's a cam in the drone,
I can.
so
use, I
you
can
are
use that.
able to connect into that as well.
Yeah, so I can see in body cams.
I don't have a body cam because that would be incriminating.
We know all about what you get up to. Yeah, I can see out of your little toy then.
I'm somewhat offended.
Oh,
Toy?
yeah, Bumblebee, buzzing about here and there.
If you don't want to get to this compound, we can
Oh,
always just
no.
undo these upgrades.
Would
Please
you
do not.
want to undo these upgrades? Tell me this now. Would you undo what you just did and waste that perfectly good tape pitching we just pulled?
Phipps is obviously now beeping in a slightly more, in a slightly less kind of lackadaisical, drunk way, and in more of a kind of like a blip, 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 rather than
Like an R2D2 way.
no,
Or a BB-8.
no, legally distinct, legally distinct.
Okay.
beep.
S5.
So yeah. So it's like a
CC6.
yeah, something like that.
And I presume that now we can try and triangulate, and also I probably should have realised actually I can just control it, fly up, and then look out its eyes. But I think its range. You said its range was only like 40 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I figured that wasn't-
the canopy above your head is
Yeah, okay.
higher.
I
than
thought I'd
that.
check, but like,
You take it up, and it doesn't add to your vision. Really, you just like mostly the best. It's like, oh, you can see yourselves, and then ahead you see a similar version of what you see on the ground. In terms of just like massive limbs and tree and various different kinds.
I pack up my tent and find 3 screws and a spring.
have an extra 10
Spare parts.
There aren't even any screws in this tent. is there?
Sure, it's fine. He knows what he's doing.
You send a brief message out as well, like a kind of ping message out to the ship. You get back a data message only, like a kind of text message, effectively, that says computer system's still rebooting. What limited visibility we have shows you on near course, but you need correction, and offers you a few sort of suggestions that might take you slightly closer on track. Hurry up We don't want to stay here too long. Looks like weather due to break soon. Hopefully this is good.
Okay.
You pack your things away. Drone flying along. And make your way forwards as a group. Following the corrections to the course, at one point you are forced to slightly move out of the way in order to move past and around and over what appears to be a large amount of water that has poured down and kind of created, at least briefly, a pond or lake here, almost sort of mangrove-y. If you were to try to go through it. And so you try to stick to the edges and move around these huge, thick trunks. As you do so, you spot a cluster off to the side of plants that stand out. They are large, but by no means as vast as the stuff that you are used to seeing and have moved around. Around 3 meters tall, flowering. They resemble a type of yucca. Yucca filamentosa. I'm going to use internet to find out what that looks like, so I can explain it to you. Effectively, like 3 meter tall fronds, spikes, pointed on the edge, and like thin bladed leaves, and on the top of them these large flower heads that just are all kind of clustered on this spike that comes out from the center of all of these. You recognise these? You've seen them. They usually grow sort of this sort of height and flower, but they can and have been known to grow up to sort of 3 meters tall. Shrubs. It stands out against the sort of brown, dark, black of the jungle. These constant colours. As it seems to be a deep crimson. And it appears to sort of kind of sweat or ooze. There's a glisten to it that doesn't just come from the rain. There is a kind of strange darkness to it. Odd. Draws your attention. And is blocking your path. Or not blocking, but you effectively have two options. You either wade through unknowably deep waters, or you need to cling to the edges around past where this grows and get closer. Something about it strikes you as particularly unwholesome and ominous.
Now, Miss Withers, I'm not a bottom, but you, are those plants normally brighter colors than,
There's something abnormal about it. It's not the normal specimens I've seen. I'll teach you an old botanist trick. If we can break off a branch or something and just chuck it at it, then we might be able to see if it has any reaction to intruders in its environment.
Oh, I know about one. We use that for bodies, though.
Oh, well.
Yeah, we used it for bodies to see if they were dead or not. If they went, they were.
I worry that the implication of this is that you're breaking off limbs off of dead corpses and throwing them at other dead corpses.
We used what we had around. Whatever was in the environment.
Who would have known? I didn't know we had such crossover between our professions.
Botany and military.
Yeah.
Adapt, to improvise, overcome.
Exactly. You know what we're all about.
Are there any things I could throw at the plant? Or we could throw as
Yeah.
as
Is there a branch or something?
Water has swallowed up a large amount of what was sort of on the floor, and you look down where you would normally pick up that kind of things. It is wet and squelchy. A few inches of water. You could certainly search around and find something. I'm sure you have something on one of your persons that is not vitally important enough that you could throw it at a plant.
Big spanner.
We may need that. Who knows? Big spanner.
We may need that.
He's
Oh,
got.
it's probably not that big.
What do you mean
It's
by
not big.
like?
I like the idea you just got like an enormous rack of spanners, and you're like, this one is my least favourite.
You've all got
This is my jewellery
Yeah.
spanner.
It's in Space Imperial.
I'll use that.
The truth is that they're all adjustable, and you're like, this is the metric one, this is the imperial one.
He's not that particular. It's probably just one big rusty ass spanner that he just uses for all kinds. But
knowing many mechanics. You've probably got a set that you spent a huge amount of money on and only use one
there's
of.
the public and the private set. The public set is like the big rusty spanner, and then the private set, because I do have general tools, is like this immaculately kept oilclothed, like
Maybe we could throw those screws and springs we had spare. Maybe like bundle them together.
like
Yeah, but if we bundled them together, it'd be like a small rock or something.
I'm sure we can find something,
Yeah.
some kind of.
I mean, it's squelchy underfoot, right? And presumably there's like large leaves and stuff, so it's forming like some kind of like sludgy compost type stuff beneath our feet.
Yeah.
So can I just grab a ball of that and lob it at this plant?
Sort of all throw a handful of things
Why are we
together.
Why are we so desperate to understand whether or not these plants are
Oh,
fond of having things thrown at them?
because we would like to know. Because if you see, we're not very fond of these potentially dangerous things about here.
And so the best thing is to antagonize them.
Yes.
I just don't want the first thing to touch those plants to be my face.
Well, so why don't we go around?
Well, we
we-
want to see what happens first if, like, they're jostled to get a
They're
general
not normally
idea.
got sort of an enormous amount of sort of range, sort of gun capacity. The plants, so it's hopefully, in my experience, it's been sort of more contact based. I mean, obviously, spores have done a bit of a number on me already, but
Yeah.
I think we can track around.
When you say deep water, it's like, how is it like a river? It's a-
The phrase I used was unknowably deep.
yeah. Is it like a dragon? Is it like a river pulling then from the rain?
It doesn't look like it.
So it is just big. No.
So,
Yeah.
so there's a,
There's nothing good at the bottom there.
just so where there was like mangroves around one side and then the yucca around the other.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, well, I've got a length of paracord. I go and strap a load of it around my middle, and I'm saying, why don't we just go around the other side, and I can tie off some ropes and we can get round that way.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like,
Rob, use that bad bitch attitude and peg those yuccas.
This bad bitch is not doing any pegging.
Oh.
Okay then.
I-
Noted.
Both recreationally and out of curiosity would like to throw something at the plant.
Good. I didn't know where that sentence was going.
I thought we were still talking about the previous one.
And to repeat, no pegging.
I'm going to ask you to roll a combat roll.
Well, at least it's not my worst stat.
What is?
Everything else.
Speed. I fail.
Fail.
That's
What
great.
did
The
you roll?
plant won't interpret it as a direct
37
threat.
over 31.
You ball up this mud, strange, whatever this is, ball of thing, and lob it towards the plants. And you watch as it kind of against the wide leaves and rolls slimily down. leaves behind a kind of trail of dark, viscous. And you watch as the sort of redness of the leaves kind of flares slightly, and the mud seems to like cake for a moment and then burn away. Botanist. You notice in this moment, as this is happening, as their attention is drawn towards whatever is happening here, that within the spike frond, where the flowers of this plant are, there is a moment where out of the center of all of the flowers, you see like slight unsheathing snaps back in as their attention is drawn towards whatever strange currents is happening with this mud ball.
Oh, well, that's a bad sign. Yeah, we should... I mean, it's very interesting. That kind of reactivity in the plant is fantastic, but probably not advisable to get near. I'm afraid it'll be the unknowable depths for us.
I must say, it's a lot in the elbow, the shoulder, with your throw. You've got to kind of, and you want to. Where were you aiming?
At the plant.
You need to be a little more specific when you aim. It helps really.
Well, look, if the good thing is if this plant is particularly dangerous or even sentient, people have speculated that the plant thinks we're incompetent, which is fantastic. It thinks we're less of a threat. So let's.
Your stupidity has saved us, my Oppenheimer. I think.
So we're swimming through the unknowably
Roll.
deep.
Oh.
As you look over in the direction of your disappointment, you spot on the ground, nestled within between the leaves. That's tech. Equipment. Like people equipment. That's interesting. It's probably useful.
Not as useful as being alive. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's something in there. Looks off-world, obviously manufactured by someone. I don't think that we should investigate, because chances are, if it reacts to us throwing stuff at it, it'll react to us getting close to it, and there's probably a reason why there's some kind of technology in there, and it's probably because someone's been eaten.
Yeah.
Manufactured, you say? That is incredible. It looks completely... it looks unusual, but it looks completely natural.
As you peer over, you see what Sir Rob is referring to, and you see, yeah, definitely human-made tech. Looks like a handheld computer device of some description. You'd have to get closer to it, but it looks like it might be scanning terminal or perhaps some kind of GPS-based device. No satellites here, so it must use some other kind of system. But it looks like whoever brought it out here was surveying. Could be useful. Might help with future navigation.
Don't entice us.
My job.
So we for some reason the path around the mangrove roots is just not cricket. Is that what I'm getting?
What do we think would be like better? How? Let's ask this: who here learned to swim?
I mean, I can swim. That wasn't a trained skill, was it? Nope. Okay, good. I can swim.
Is it like it's a bit like zero G?
We can all
I'd
swim
say.
really, really well, and so it's not going to be a problem.
It's a bit like zero G sometimes because you got less weight kind of in there.
Has anyone recently read a book on athletics by any chance?
I'm quite athletic.
Yeah, same,
Well,
same
then-
here. I mean, depending on how... why am I putting myself forward? It's a one-shot, it's fine. Depending on how mobile my hazard suit is, because I'm strong and I've got a boost to athletics, I would very reluctantly offer to wade/swim across this with some of the filament cord that
I was going
someone's
to say,
got.
I was going to wrap my paracord around you,
Yeah.
so if possible, we can.
We
pull
could
you
probably
back.
tie it maybe to like a pet big farm.
So either the lightest guy or girl goes in, and if it goes wrong, the strongest people can pull them back, or the strongest person goes in and pulls everyone across. If we're going to do this pond.
In this outfit, I'm quite strong, but I may feel better trying to pull people back ashore.
Right,
Maybe
I'll
if-
go, and if a tentacle grabs me, you shoot it.
I won't have hands on the line just then, so you know.
I can pull it. I'm doing my part. I get
Oh
looks to the camera, rolling the
Where are you looking?
Looking at fibs, of course.
Ah!
It's recording all of this for when they find our mangled body.
this is for my space TikTok.
Oh, no.
God. The skull
It's
at
better than his own
Beach
droid.
Project.
No.
What is it that you are attempting, Koblenz? What's your intention here?
So the way I'm picturing it is you've got a vaguely circular body of water. We don't know how deep it is, with kind of plant growth all the way up one side, this sort of mangrovey bit, and then the drier land on the other side with the kind of space yuccas.
More like you're on the tangled mangrove roots here.
Yep.
There is a gap between you and more tangled mangrove roots on the other side. Ground,
Yep.
not so much, but solid things that you can hold on to and move across on the other side. Yes, otherwise completely the same.
Okay, so in which case my inclination will be to pull myself along by the mangroves with a cord for the others to then follow, but have people watching my progress because I'm the only one with a hazard suit.
Do we want to tie it to this side as well first, or?
No, I want like everybody to hold it,
Okay.
and then when I get across, it'll help people.
How far across is it?
Oh, probably.
Unknown.
Put into
far.
units.
Unknowingly
Probably
far.
far.
It's the
A
distance.
kilometre.
It's an ocean.
Get swimming. Goodbye, Koblenz.
Is it getting further?
20 meters.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, so what you do, if you're willing to and you're able to, we'll hold on to one end of the line here. You swim across with your end. If there's any problems, we tug you back. When you get over to the other side, we can wrap the rope around the tree and then kind of throw the other end back and then like kind of fashion something that we can walk along the bottom and grab onto the top. That way we don't have to get into the water if there is anything down there.
Yeah, can we make essentially a floating line if we tie at both ends?
Certainly try.
So enigmatic.
Who has the Boy Scout skill among
Strangely,
us?
this wasn't written down in my.
I was in the art. I'm like a sort of Air Force. But we've got Park Ranger over here.
Okay.
Well,
I'm going to get you to choose. You can either make this a speed thing or a strength thing.
my strength is better, and I've got very good strength, so I'd need to get lower than a 60 with my
Ooh.
athletics.
It's an
Ooh.
athletics based thing as well, yeah. So go
Yeah,
for
if
it.
I can use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shall we choose you to have on the rope to potentially pull back? Because I'm
I
not
mean,
very strong.
I think. Can we? Is there some way we can all do it and like assist each other or something to?
Yeah. Firm grip.
Yeah,
Okay, tug of war positions.
everyone is in position to.
Where?
It's a big roll, so I'm doing a big ball.
Yeah.
Low numbers. That is 53, which is under 60.
That is a success.
and the 53 is right next to the 99.
Oh,
Why?
So you got to like really look.
Oh, you did not want that. 53 is a success, however. Yeah, you find your way. You move power through the waters. You pull through where you can. There is a short stretch where you have to open water swim. It's a few meters back before you feel root beneath your feet again, and you're able to kind of like sort of drag yourself through and over until you can get up to where the roots of the trees and plant life seems to sit above the waterline. It is a few minutes work to tie off, and then the plan is to return back with the same bit of rope and tie it off again, so that you've got a two.
No, I've crossed, tied the rope, and the guys that are holding the other
Yeah,
side
we
of
were
the rope
holding
and
the other
spooling it out can then either tie it off there or literally one off the other, just pull themselves.
but through the water.
I think
Oh.
that's.
They would have to still.
Cool.
I
Yeah.
think then I maybe should go last, so I can keep firm end on this end of the rope.
Okay. Cool. There's definitely, swirling current and movement here. This water is a temporary body. Looks like it's due to the vast amounts of waters and rains, and you sense that it is draining slightly away from where you are. I'm going to ask, as a group, I'll ask you all to just roll. Everybody rolls strength.
Does athletics apply?
Yes.
I roll with advantage.
We're going to do this as a group check. So
Is this me as well?
No, you're fine. More successes than failures is all we need.
Sorry, guys.
26, so I pass.
12, so I pass.
That's going to be
Fail.
good.
I would fail.
Fail, but one of you has succeeded already, so that is 3 to 2.
Woo!
That was with advantage.
It is heavy going. Your equipment is not good with large amounts of water in it. It is heavy, which requires padding. Padding then fills up with water, and you squelch now.
You're struggling to keep the rat's head above water.
They can survive going through the toilets. They can, a rat can swim for.
That's not
Have
in the
you
toilet
often
when we're on
flushed
the
your
ship.
No, it's how they. I love rats. They're great. They can swim for 2 days, I think.
It's not in the ship.
There's a reason they're everywhere.
Rat's gonna go and leave us.
Oh
and
yeah,
survive in this jungle
Ruby's
way
gonna
longer than us.
Ruby is gonna live in our corpses.
Final girl, Ruby.
Ruby's just going to ride Phipps off to the sunset.
Oh.
That's an image.
Her bloody corpses.
You leave behind the yucca grove and head deeper through
I
the jungle.
Reel in my paracord.
Of course. About 45 minutes to an hour later, you sense that the sound of rain on the canopy above diminishes. And what has been this ever-present kind of roar of rain has dispersed. And instead, you are now surprised and disoriented. You have been in jungles. You have been in forests. But you have never been in one this silent. Its silence unnerves you. And I would like all of you to roll me a sanity check.
My lowest stat.
Saved by 1 again. 38, and I needed 39.
I failed by a lot.
98.
98.
You could have failed worse.
85.
Fail?
I succeed with 18. I need to not get 20.
I succeed with 36.
36. Those of you who succeed, you are steadfast, resolved. Those of you who fail, none of you critically failed, will all gain a point of stress. This is unnerving, and weird. This is not natural. You have never been surrounded by such an abundance of natural and felt so unnatural in this moment. The silence does not abate. And other than your footfalls for the next hour or so, there is simply an echoing nothingness of jungle ahead, behind, above. About 6 hours into your, no, about 5 hours into your journey, there is a change in sound. You start to hear a handful of erratic and chaotic percussive noises. And you spot the air thickens. Spore and pollen becomes almost unbearably dense. The jungle itself is reacting and responding to this influx of water from above, and it is thriving. I need all of you to roll me body saves.
Against the pollen?
Against the pollen.
I do have a hazard suit on, does that?
Your hazard suit will help you get advantage on this
I was
one.
gonna does my radiation protection do anything?
This is not radiation.
I was gonna say, I was going to say that I've written down the nanotech pills grant me advantage to body saves. I don't know how long that lasts for. I don't expect that's infinite, but okay.
I'll allow it.
Body.
Oh,
Body.
Body, that's my lowest.
18. I succeed.
The first roll was 2.
A 0-2. Nice.
The second one was 51. So
That's fail. 92.
44, I fail.
Critical fail. For those of you who fail, similar to what Trudy experienced, there is certainly for you, a tightening in your chest, and you are aware that your hastily pulled together neckerchiefs are no longer providing quite the level of air filtration required. Turns out a proper mask is required to protect you against airborne particulates.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't roll that though. So
Rob, you don't feel asthma. Why would you? You've not been given that kind of technology. But you feel
no one installed
we designed him to.
gunky.
Oh,
Like
Oh.
Yeah.
what passes for saliva in your strange android body has become mucal.
Mm.
Like kind of like what you would imagine and have heard and seen other people, humans have, as like a really, really bad head cold, and that has just filled your sinus cavity.
Guys, I'm really struggling to breathe.
You breathe?
so not going
I
to
have
drain
cooling.
You here is fine.
I'm not feeling. These pills actually helped. Do you guys?
Oh,
Do you guys?
everyone take pills.
If you're offering, it would be.
Yeah, it might help you for next time.
I
Right.
Is there an option for me?
Well, they are nanotech pills, so I feel like they're doing some kind of. I don't know whether
They're
they're gonna help.
robots,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
They're very gently changing our DNA. Which is
You're fine. Right. That is.
Don't give it
that
to
is
the rat.
3 out of 6 gone, but I feel like there's going to be some.
So in 30
gotta
years, when I
force-
have a robot tumour, I'll know what to think.
5 hours. We're 5 hours in, not.
And you were my crit fail, weren't you?
Yes.
Cool.
Uh-oh.
You got a pill now. I'm sure you'll be fine. Give me my bottle back.
press forward. And ahead of you, eventually, probably half an hour, 45 minutes later, you see a clearing cut away. You have a sense you're heading in the right direction as you start to notice what appear to be tool marks on the sides of the plant life here. The canopy disappears a little. It seems like this area was cut back at some point, relatively recently, although the jungle itself is fighting hard back to reclaim the lost land. But eventually it opens out into a clear sky, and you see ahead of you the buildings of Shenkoa Research Facility. Approximately 5 or 6 larger modules, and off to the side, as you look at them, a series of smaller square units that make up what you know and recognize to be the support facilities for this kind of outpost. There are power units, water filtration, air filtration, and similar sort of types of device, mechanical stuff that keeps the rest of it running. Off to the right, you see these clustered from where you are. Ahead of you, at ground level, you see a large, wide module with a large roller shutter door, and off to the side, a single door up a flight of stairs. On top of that, sat is the smaller ship that was on the roof. Silent, still. To the left of this main module that you've spotted, you see 2 more module units. You assume similar sizes, but placed in different dimensions. You see a long, thin one, and then a short end bit of another module that you assume, you've seen these kinds of things before, to be a similar sort of size, but just placed at the 90 degree. All of these modules are raised off the ground by 2 meters on these large pillar supports, and only the long, thin one raised up as a single entryway door that looks like it is for people. So you have 2 units that you can potentially gain ingress through. This one to the left that is raised up with some steps off of the ground and a single door for humans, or the larger unit to the right hand side where you see from where you are what appears to be a wide roller shutter door for vehicle access and a single door to its right that leads you into that area on foot.
Well, it appears as though we're here. Just thinking, as fun as that little trek was through the forest, if we can get that thing working, we don't need to make the trek back. Should we start with that?
I mean, but there's also like an air filtration, so maybe that gets over. But maybe the ship is like a higher importance. Maybe there's some. I mean, silence, unnerving. Maybe we could take a little look into there, little look-see.
I figure it's on top of the garage building, the shutter building. I figure garage will have potentially extra outside gear for those of us that maybe weren't quite so prepared. I look at everyone else who's decked out in all this stuff, and I've got a rat, dungarees.
Should have been prepared.
I'm always prepared for something.
Should always be prepared, though. You never know. Look here, he's got a tent. We needed a tent to tent out.
And we
Who'd
needed
afford it? I mean, it's not camping weather, right?
Oh, but we needed it.
and we needed the paracord and Fips here.
I'm not saying you've not been useful. Hold on, wait. My English was little mangled. You bring much to the team, I must say. And your piloting is the best I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's good instinct. You're a pilot. There's a thing that you can pilot.
Exactly.
Get it, but we got to get this Dr. Watanabe.
Yeah, doctor.
And
Dr.
I've got to pull the
Watanabe.
hard drive as well if I can. So we've got to go where the people are, or where the people should be. So we got. I mean, my personal vote is get out of the environment, find a means of escape, and then we know where we've got to get to, and then we do the stuff we've got to do. Because I don't want to get sent back here.
Indeed.
So I don't want to say, yeah, well done, you made it off the planet. Now you can go back and do what we asked you.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
that's me quitting.
it's not been long. They're still going to be making repairs as well. For some time.
Well, you're the strategy guy. What do you think?
Oh, yes, I am. Team.
Oh, leader, help us.
Why don't everyone make a suggestion first, and I'll take in consideration. So you would like to go check
Garage building.
garage building,
Have a look in there and then see if we can get the thing on the roof working.
garage building, ship.
I think that's a great idea. But if we're voting, I vote the people place.
People place. So the two other units.
Little steps and the.
Yeah. Bob.
I think we have to go for the ship. You know, the environment seems pretty hostile out here, and if we can't breathe, then at least the ship gives us the option to go back to our ship, get some better equipment, and then come back with ease.
Valuable.
I'm pretty convinced by your thing about the people, but I think maybe if we go to the garage and check out the ship first, and maybe if it needs something, some kind of repairs, then we can, as we move through the rest of the facility, we can pick up stuff that it might need,
Yeah, we might need a key.
and then we'll go back to it.
Maybe we just have to give a brief look of the outside of the ship first. See if it's there. As well as then, if after we find it, we can send them somewhere we know is prepared for them. So maybe we
I
just
mean,
get-
yeah, they might have comms. It might be
Yeah.
just okay. Yeah, we've secured the ship. We can communicate,
Yeah.
and then okay, yeah. That's why I
Yeah.
don't make the decisions. That sounds good.
Let's check out the ship first.
So heading to the garage.
The garage building.
You said there was a
with
door
ship.
rather than the roller shutter.
Yeah.
As you make your way across the ground towards the unit, the ground level unit that is the garage facility and warehouse, as you assume, you spot off to the right hand side a set of metal stairs up to a door pass. The roller shutter, as you move past it, your attention is drawn momentarily to a break in the plane of the door. It seems as though this large metal roll-up door has suffered some kind of blunt force trauma in a bottom corner, and you can see that pushed up and peeled up away, perhaps only 30 centimeters or so away from the corner of this unit, is a peeled back bit of the door, ever so slightly ajar. It looks like something pushed out with great force from this facility. You make your way to the main door, the people door, and side entrance provides personnel access. You see that requires a key code.
I get my lockpick set out.
Or some form
How did you
of-
roll so many bits?
I was
Because
gonna
they're cheap. I roll
reasonably well on my credits, and I got loads of really useful cheap stuff.
I've got like 2 things.
You only need 2 things: a rat and a can-do attitude.
Yeah.
We're not going to count the droid in this situation.
It's more of a friend than equipment.
I would be willing to allow you to come up with some kind of ingenious mechanism for potentially trying to override this key card situation.
Key card.
Force might do it. Hacking could
Computers?
do it.
Got computers.
Before we just blindly stumble into the dark, I just want to check. I mean, the outside, obviously, we've got something has seemingly broken from the inside out. Could have been anything. We don't know what. Does everything look like dilapidated, uncared for? Are the lights on? Are there any noises coming from the facility? And if I peer through the hole in the door, do I see anything?
Interesting question. There are no windows, so it is
Right.
hard to judge whether there are lights or power on within. But as you peer through the hole in the door, it seems as though there is some form of low light power in the garage itself. The whole unit has a slightly dilapidated feel, but not like long lost, more like the ground is very much trying to reclaim it, and keeping it from doing so is almost a full-time job, and it looks as though whoever was doing that has had something else to think about for a few days, because you can see, whilst it's not like grown right up to it, certain like quite large long tendrils out of the forest have had a chance to move in and towards, and then it's already starting to like branch out from the forest area. It seems as though the warehouse has basic power.
I do the classic jump scare of putting my hand on your shoulder just as you're looking. Find anything?
Just like snap around, and I'm just like, looks okay. It looks like there's been someone here recently. So,
Do you think something's gone wrong here?
I mean, the low power lighting is on inside, so maybe there might not be optimal power, but also, they might have just turned off the lights.
They haven't been communicating for weeks now, and I think it's a tear pushing out. What that means is something trying to get out. I
It
don't.
means it's behind us.
No, this bin is not behind us.
Well, it might be.
I move away from the hole and tiptoe
Yeah.
up the stairs and start getting my digital lockpicks out that I'm probably not the best person to use, and I probably stole from someone.
Can-
Name the
so-
brightest.
So, Alessa's somewhat conflicted because, like, obviously we're in a game where we know things are going to go wrong, but right now, Alessa probably doesn't think, like, oh, there's going to be unspeakable horrors in here. It could just be, oh, well, something went wrong. So I think she's a bit like, do we just want to break and enter? Because, we could just go to the other place and, like, oh, hi, yeah, we ran out of power. Thanks for coming to get us.
That's
Well-
true. I mean, let's just give the digital lockpicks a go. If we can get it open and not have any questions asked, that would be good. I'm not advocating bashing down the door. I think that is impolite.
I mean, my logic is, if we pick the door and get in and there's someone in there and they're like, what are you doing in my house? Then we'll say, we haven't heard from you for a few weeks. So, it's like the police checking on you, right?
Housekeeping.
Someone.
Yeah.
We were called in by a close friend. That are you okay?
You didn't hang the thing on your door handle that said "Do not disturb."
Your
so
mum told me to come round and check on you.
so can we try and find a way around this lock?
Yeah.
Say I've got a skill in computers and a drill. Can I like?
Computers and a drill.
Well, can I, like take parts of the panel off, so maybe either make it easier to pick, or to expose some wires that I can.
I'll allow it. Does anyone have the jerry rigging skill?
Oh,
No.
I do. So on here it says jury rigging. Yes.
Your Honour.
I've selected a few juries and they've gone exactly the way I wanted.
You've still got your medical license.
I would say jerry rigging could potentially do it. Hacking, if anyone had it, which I don't think anyone does.
I've got industrial equipment and mechanical.
Yeah, does industrial equipment work?
Mechanical repair might do it. It's up to you.
Because that's my.
And it's
my
going to
super
be-
skill, but my basic. If it's like intellect, that's my lowest stat. So
It's going to be an intellect check.
Okay, well look, let me give jury rigging a go because my intellect is good.
Okay.
It's a decision I'll regret, I'm sure. But
So can I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
roll
You
it
go.
with advantage.
okay. Okay, that's 32, so that's already succeeded. But I'll say if I. Okay, that's a 30. So yeah.
Lovely. You take the panel off. A few wires are moved around. You know that you have a few bits of wire and equipment that you can kind of use to kind of like short circuit bits. It's not ideal. You've had to open a few things that didn't want to be opened before. And it takes a little bit of time, but there is a whatever electronic lock is holding this in place. It's opened, and the door ahead is open for you. Do you go in?
I say, oh goodness, the power to this door has come out. I guess it's open. We could go in.
What does it look like inside?
You open the door and peer in. You see a large bare metal garage.
Oh no!
There's a hyphen in there.
How could you?
Large bear.
Metal!
It's a bear made of steel.
I was thinking more of like rock.
It is a robo pair.
It's like a giant
Wow.
Teddy Ruxpin. Blades.
Or
About to die.
like Paddington.
Ah!
The garage,
Paddington of Death.
Yeah.
garage is empty, and the metal is unadorned.
With no
bears
Animals
inside.
at all.
You can be careful, they're always about.
Off to the side, you can see a handful of machines. They look like vehicles, rovers, things like that. And directly ahead of you, you see flat down on the floor what appears to be the sides of a freight elevator that would go up to the roof. It is low light in here, but there is power, and reaching round and through the door, you find a switch, and all of these sort of fluoro type tubes come on. I love the fact that if in the future we'd still use fluorescence rather than LED, illuminating this space bright. As you peer in from the doorway, you can see the first thing that you notice mostly is that one of the large vehicles has been tipped on its side, and there is a smell in this area. A smell that you recognise specifically, Koblenz. This is gasoline. Whatever powers this vehicle has spilled out of the engine and is filling this space. Across on the opposite side, on your level, you see a sign hanging on a wall beside the door that leads to the unit that you didn't go into. From where you are, with the lights on, peering in through the doorway, you can see that it says blank, and then like a paddle that says 0, days since injury, and immediately below where the 0 has been hung is a bloodied handprint that drops down to the floor.
Oh, man. Thank God whoever died had a sense of humour.
Are there any? So this is a garage. Is there any tools around? Any any bits and pieces. I'm just thinking I haven't got a weapon.
Do you go inside?
Oh,
You're all stood, like, the door has got...
okay, yeah.
And you're all like...
we fumbled in to try and find a light switch.
Quickly, everyone stack your heads.
You head inside to the warehouse itself.
Does it? Is it still quiet, or is there? Can we hear like, I'm a big monster? Like, is it?
Do we hear bear sounds?
Can we hear like obvious?
Yeah, you hear that
monster
exact
noise.
noise.
Yeah. Can we hear monster noise?
No?
Cool. Well, seeing safe. Yeah. Well, seeing a bit of blood, I think now.
Where's where's the sign and the bloody hand in relation?
You've come in the doorway here, and it's like there.
Oh.
So like on the opposite side of the shutters, like right along the end of the shutters, on the wall that goes that way, as opposed to the wall that's this side.
Yeah.
About how far?
They are probably it's got enough for a few vehicles in here, so and enough to land a spaceship of some description on the roof of it. So it's probably 40 meters across.
See it clock in the hand. I'm just gonna have a hand, I think, ready on my gun, which is called Lady Lorelei.
The blends will see that and say, if you shoot a bullet anywhere near that, you're gonna blow us all up. Just like sparks and flames, guys.
I don't intend to shoot unless I have to, and I don't really plan on shooting. But
Just saying.
the handprint is a little worrying.
You will take a few steps inside the unit, and as well as the kind of all-terrain vehicle, there are two other all-terrain vehicles parked up, and then this other one closest to the door that is knocked on its side and drained fuel furthest away from you. As well as that, you see the freight elevator directly in front of you, and behind it, to the sort of directly in front from where you're coming through the door, you can see padlocked and crated up with like metal shutters and metal, not chain link, but kind of like a chain link. You can see storage units that have been like separated out, warehouse space, crates, supply units and things like that. Next to that is a series of lockers, and above, running from the far side away from you, across and around the top, is a gantry-way that fills those two sides, and you can see a set of stairs lead up, circular, in the corner over on the opposite side of the shutter, where near to where the sign is. There is a doorway on that gantry level where the sign is, and there is a doorway also ahead of you and above, as you're lower by 2 meters than the rest of the units of the warehouse, of the research station.
My fancy. I would like to make my way around the edge of the room to the sign, and just with like does the blood chip away? Is it? I would just like to see with a bear. Is it dry or is it?
It's dried.
Okay. It's a little old here. Maybe those comms going out a while ago. Maybe at lawn.
Yeah, not promising, because they clearly haven't updated the sign. So
Yeah.
they didn't.
Final regrets.
What do you mean? It's been 0 days since the last incident.
What
yeah,
does
but this
the
blood is dry,
hand?
so they should have said, you know, if the blood was dry, they should have A, cleaned the sign, B, say written on it 5 days. You know, there's, you know.
0 days. Yeah, you know, it happened today. That's what that means.
Yeah, but maybe he
Don't
did
mean-
it and immediately has run off. And the last thing he did is he took the big number.
Are you having this conversation?
I think Alessa probably would be.
Yeah.
In a nervous way. Cool. I think maybe getting a bit more serious. Alessa will kind of, okay, are there any tools in this place?
From what you can see in the warehouse area, there appear to be some kind of mechanics lockers, and behind the chain link fence you see these 4 lockers that might contain sort of armory units. The main part of it, though, seems to look like it's be food and raw materials for construction of facility sections. But you reckon that it might also contain component parts as well for things that might need repairing.
The vehicles that are in this area, one's on its side, what manner of vehicles are there? Because we've just come through very heavy jungle, and I'm picturing them to be like more like sort of JCBs and like giant industrial hedge trimmers. You know, they can just
You said
keep
they're
them
like
basically rather
rover
than.
type vehicle.
It's a Fiat 500.
Ah,
There's a chinky chain
Not
toe,
sponsored. Yeah.
and that is, I'm sure the answer to that question is in this book. You see 3 ATVs, as you know as ORTs X4s. So basically just like go-karts but with roll bars. There is one ORT X2C, a cargo carrier. So basically that, but with like a kind of built-in trolley compartment behind it. That's not separate to the chassis. And there is an HEL suit, otherwise known as, and you probably would have worn maybe, certainly coveted an HEL suit. It is the made by the Marianas Industries, a hazardous environment loading suit, bulky, heavy lifting exoskeleton suit designed for working in hostile environments and conditions. Very much so, like,
Amazing.
yeah.
I can drive that.
oh.
I mean, my suggestion is whatever looks like it contains any kind of armament and or spares, because let's be real, either way, if we need to get back to the ship, we've hopefully got a ship that's landed on the roof. If that's not working, we've got buggies that we can hopefully fix. We don't know what state they're in, but either way, if we get the components out, and maybe there might be some repairs needed back on the ship at the landing site, maybe there are some spares here that might assist with that. So I think it only makes sense that we check out those lockers.
You can see that there are 2 paths to the roof. The spiral staircase in the corner that also takes you up to the gantry level continues up to the roof level, and it looks as though the freight elevator in front of you also is designed specifically for loading heavy objects up and down to roof level. It is usable again with a key pass, and you can see that it seems to have a symbol on it that implies that this is an engineering based key pass system.
Well, steps are quieter.
Yeah.
As long as that gantry looks like it's going to hold. I'm not so keen on firing everything up, if you know what I mean. Do we want to make our way straight up to where the ship is and check that out first, or should we try and get into these lockers, see if there's anything?
If we check out the ship, then we know if something does need repairing. Then we can, when we come back down, we can get the parts, and we can't take, presumably whatever parts that might need replacing will need lifting up there. I don't really want to lift them up some stairs, so we'll need to find the key card somewhere around here to get them on the lift.
So up to the
roof
first.
then?
Yeah.
To the roof.
Make your way up the spiral staircase past the gantry and onto the roof level where you look out over the forest. You see the ship here close by, its name emblazoned on the side, the Valkyrie. It is looking a little sad. Looks like it has been stagnating here on the roof for a few weeks, and hasn't been driven for a while.
Is it distinctive from something that the Tag Corporation would fly, or is it?
No, looks like it probably was here it probably came here with supplies for the tag team.
Okay.
You go up to it and get into it, and you can see that it seems to be powered. Computer systems seem to be fine. A quick diagnostics tells you that the engines are somewhat damaged. It looks as though they are suffering from a cooling problem brought on by a build-up of some kind of substance within their coolant systems. But somewhat usable. You would be... I mean, you could probably get back to the ship, but then you wouldn't really have anywhere to land.
Are there
Going to
slightly
atmosphere, not sure. Engine cleaning, engine
are there
refurbishment
longer
would be
range
needed.
communication capabilities?
Yeah, is the
that we could-
telecommunications working?
You can message back to your ship. You could probably message from here out to an orbiting ship, but no light,
Yeah.
off-planet,
I
off-star
think
system.
so. We just send a message back to the captain first saying, we've arrived at base. A bloody handprint is one of the first signs we've seen, and there's a potential something tried to get in out. We have not seen anyone of yet. We are on their ship, the Valkyrie, currently. Status at the moment is reasonably good.
Good to hear from you, team. Well, bloody handprint. We were kind of expecting that, I suppose. How are you getting on the objectives? Have you found any of the things that you need to find yet? We've made some improvements here. Computer systems are rebooting still. There's most of the major stuff's back up and running, but it's good that you found a ship.
Yeah.
I'll interject this one. Yeah, Captain, you might want to just keep an eye out for the coolant systems on the ship there, because that's what seems to have grounded this one temporarily. It's just going to fill up with all the crap in the atmosphere.
Noted. We'll make sure the filters get cleaned pretty quick. We had noticed that things were starting to get a bit hot. That explains things.
Yeah, make sure none of those spars creep their way in with their little... they're not good outcomes, we've seen.
Well, the quicker you can come back with what you've achieved, we're looking for the scientist. At least we can report back some information. That's useful. But keep an eye on that hard drive, and let's see if we can find and extract our wayward scientist.
The other thing, Captain, I don't know if you've got enough people there, but if there's any chance of maybe trying to clear a bit of a landing pad, we might be able to ride this little ship back to you when we're done.
It would make it a lot easier to get people back safely.
We'll try what we can. Most people are flat out over here, and I can't exactly spare another landing party. We've got most of the best kit.
We are in dire straits.
Tap out and message, we're fucked.
2 weeks till retirement.
I'm getting too old for this.
They got people back there who haven't even got dungarees. I don't know.
You've got the best equipment.
Best,
A rat.
best of the best, and
My
here
rat's
we
got
are.
skills.
Probably got more skills than me.
My rat's rim-wise.
What now? Where now? Forwards. You
Yes.
have discovered information. You've learned what you needed to learn. The ship is... Well, you could spend some time fixing engines that might make it off-world if you did. It's going to require equipment, time, dedication.
But it works on world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you think. Short-range distances.
I think we may as well push on, see what we can
Yeah.
find in here, get the job done, and then we can get back here, talk to the captain, and then if they still need more time for their systems, then we could, get this ship a bit more, up and running, check the, sort out the filter stuff, and if not, then we just go back and join them.
Yeah. Merry hell.
Should we check out those lockers then? See if there's... I could do with something weighty.
Yeah,
That drill not enough for you, kid?
it's the guy with the big gun.
Lady Lorelei is a lady of respect.
I'm going to ask you all to roll me a fear check. Because I think you're all being cowardly. And wasting your time looking for supplies instead of fighting things.
I failed.
I passed. Who'd have thunk?
I feel
Anyone who
bad.
failed adds a stress. The mounting fear, and if anyone rolled doubles and failed, you get 2 stress. You are able to break through the chain link fence. It's not easy, but you're able to do so. Pry open a few lockers. A little bit of time and some banging around yields you some stim packs, 3 of them, and you notice initially a kind of scratches in a strange place within one of the lockers.
Wait.
And you see in a hidden compartment with a pair of old army tags hanging from them a Rainier Industries Gauss rifle. Next to it, a sharp Rambo knife and a canister filled with butane fuel. The tags, as you pick them up and look at them,
Was it a Rainier?
Rainier Industries Gauss rifle.
What was
It
the
is
second thing?
A Rambo knife.
basically
Rambo knife.
it is basically a rail gun. It uses magnetism and electricity to fire bolts near to the speed of sound. It is a shoot once and then repower.
Oh.
But if you were to use it, you can. It does 4d10 damage, and it has no noise. Doesn't have an explosive. It just,
But it's a one-time fire.
and then it repowers, and then it can do it again. There are 20 bolts in it, but it takes a little bit of time to repower between each one.
And what was the canister of?
Butane gas, high, pure hydrocarbon.
That good burn stuff.
That good.
Well,
As military leader, I think I should distribute these accordingly. Now, who wants a laser gun?
I mean, I don't have a weapon of any significance.
I mean,
so
yeah, I've got a scalpel, but I barely know how to use that, so don't give me a gun. It's more for medicinal use.
Scalpel, drill. Do you ever?
I will say this:
Yes.
you know, as a military person, having a weapon and not knowing how to use it is
Yeah.
more dangerous than not having a weapon.
I'm gonna give you the butane gas, just more
Ah.
to your botany knowledge and science. You get,
Oh,
you can have butane gas.
I give it a small sniff.
I huff the gas.
You should not do that. When you need a gun, just yell my name, and I'll pull into your arms dramatically.
I mean, obviously you don't want to hold too much stuff. How about I rock paper scissors you for the remaining?
We are not
weapons?
deciding to get to this kind of
I mean,
beauty.
I like the look of a knife. That seems to suit me a bit better.
Too much chat.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm on stress 4,
Yeah.
and I'm just looking around, just like,
Can you use
What
it?
the fuck are you lot doing? It's a knife. Yes.
and I will start
You have the knife.
indicating that we should get out into the next building and find our objectives. I'm assuming there's no sort of significant computer banks around here.
Are there any
Warehouse. Yeah, garage.
In the warehouse.
Don't keep your computer in the garage.
Move!
I said the people place. I mean, you got a fancy gun.
Are there any
Yeah, I
signs?
just start muttering under my breath, and you can see he's getting
What's
a bit
that
agitated.
there?
Any sort of signs in sort of like a map of the facility or direct,
Doesn't seem as though, certainly no map. Anyone who is here knows the layout.
apart from us. Okay, that's fine.
You
Well,
shouldn't be here.
No.
We have the ship ready. Successful in that we've transmitted a message. We can move on now.
Yeah, quick in and out.
Well, we have spent 6 hours just getting here. So the inn was quite a lot.
So is it getting dark? Like, kind of how we on the sort of day-night cycle?
From inside, no windows, hard to tell. Peeking out, seems as though still daylight, but you don't know for how long.
Let's move.
There are 2 doors out of here, both on the gantry level. One heading to the unit that you could have gone in through, and the other heading further north, up, for want of a better word, deeper, I guess, from where you first came in.
To go deeper into the facility, it's not just going outdoors again.
You don't know from where you are.
Let's head towards the people place, towards the other place, the other door that we would have gone in.
Yeah, we're looking.
That was your suggestion, wasn't it, earlier?
Well, I was outvoted. It's a democracy.
Yeah.
So when we all die, we all know we did it as a team.
Clearly.
Yeah, let's just check this place out. It might just be another way to get further in. It might be a dead end, but I think
No.
I think if we can go there. So yeah, we'll go to the one that goes to the other way that we could have come in.
Door opens. Beyond, you see this area is dark. Not even the low-level lights that greeted you when you first came into the garage and before you turned everything on. I'm pretty sure there's no power to this unit. No power means no air filtration. It also means that any comm systems in this area are probably also currently offline. These look administrative. You find yourself in what could only be really described as a reception. The door to the left, you assume, leads to where you could have come in. A long, thin desk, 2 computer terminals sat on it. Behind it, a large sign with Takahashi's Advanced Genetics logo emblazoned on the wall. These 2 terminals sit on the side, dark and quiet. Directly opposite, you see another doorway, but otherwise, apart from the other door out, no further out of this space.
So it's physically dark in here as well. I'm gonna put my headlamps on, just to try and illuminate it slightly from other people.
This doesn't look like the kind of area that the hard drive we're looking for would be.
It's a welcome desk in a jungle.
I think we need some kind of lab for that.
Yeah.
There's definitely computer terminals here. There's definitely systems. Probably not storage of a server or a hard drive, no.
I think the only useful thing we can get, if we were able to power these computers up, is like a map or a log of what's been going on, but I'm not sure.
We need to keep moving anyway.
Yeah.
You've been in units like this one before. I mean, you know, these are the same wherever you go.
Like a space pre.
This is definitely, this is definitely a portion set aside for administrative offices. You reckon that staff here probably have, there's possibly some kind of like conference room. You've probably been in one of those types of things before. There might be a server room in here, but without power, hard to know. And that's likely to be locked, and that's definitely going to be an electric lock. So you're going to need power to get in there. But otherwise it's all HR type stuff.
I'll just take a quick glance behind the desk. There's no bodies or anything behind the desk. Is there any blood?
Behind the desk?
Yeah.
You peer over and there is no bodies. There is, however, on the desk between the 2 terminals, a coffee cup. And as your torch moves over it, steam rises off the top of the coffee.
God, they got coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should have knocked after all.
We can't feel bad about breaking in.
We could go through. Hold on. So there's a door we think goes out as well.
There's a door directly opposite that goes deeper into the administrative
But
offices.
is that? But as the reception, was this? We could come in through
Yes.
this. If I go to that door, does it open?
Yes.
I go out. I go back in. I've come through the front door. I would say I've been awfully polite now in this retrospect.
The reception wasn't manned. Should we go deeper into admin?
Deeper into.
Yeah, just you now need to keep in mind there's definitely something here afoot.
Yeah, someone is here, someone alive. Quick and quiet. So the other door that goes deeper into the admin area.
Find yourself in a hallway. There is a door directly opposite. Looking to the right, you see another door kind of next to it. Door here, door there. Looking down the corridor ahead, you can see that it, through your torch, intersects at a T-junction. And ahead of you, you see another door similar to the one that you have just come through from the warehouse. An external, not an internal door, an external door from the unit. It has a security pad, which would require power to get through, or a force check of some description.
Oh.
So you say there's a door at the end of the hallway, and then how many
One on
doors?
the right.
He said
One on the right.
There's, if you were to go through the door and turn left, nothing behind you, another door immediately to your left, another door to the left in front of that, and then the T-junction ahead. And right now all you can see is the door at the far end.
Can we make our way? Can I make my way down to the T junction
You can.
and just peer around both sides to see if one side has a door that says lab on it?
Do you have a torch?
I have a drone. Will the is it
drone has a
reasonable?
torch.
Is it reasonable to say the drone?
Ooh.
I'm like Fips, and it goes, and then and these
Yeah.
little kind of like standing lights come off.
You are able to see through the drone's camera.
Yeah, I would be looking for the drones.
The drone down to the intersection. You can see ahead of it that the doorway ahead looks like it has a small port hole in it, and you can see, we're pretty sure, decontamination unit, which means science. As it comes and kind of turns to the right and looks back the way you came, you can see another door on the left hand side, so effectively like as you go over the T-junction, the room right here, locked, keypad, and just sort of goes round, no door at the end of the corridor, turns, wobbles its way back round to look down the corridor heading west. You can see a corridor with another door just off on the right hand side, so actually the room's on the other side there. There is another external doorway there. Stuck between this door and the unit beyond, keeping it ajar, is a partially bisected corpse. The lower half of which is in the hallway in front of you, and appears to be missing a shoe.
Oh, terrible.
It appears his shoe killed him.
So I will report this.
Oh my
He can see
god!
it, yeah.
Oh!
I will report.
I've seen worse.
we have a dead body.
Yeah, it's bisected. It's also missing a shoe. Some of it is stuck in the door. Try not to, if we go there, don't slip.
I'm going to
What
quickly
will
look around the admin room and pull out drawers and whatever and try and look for any personal notes that anyone might have left with regards to key codes.
Which door are you looking through?
So I'm currently in that first room in the admin,
The reception.
and I'm going to have a quick rummage through there, and then when we go out into the corridor before the T-junction, just the first door that I come to, I'm going to try and test.
First door directly opposite opens out into what appears to be a conference room. Large table, map on the northern wall displaying the surrounding jungle. There are circles and notes, codes, ciphers, indicating various pieces of information which are by and large impenetrable to your mind and brain. You can see a tray with water and glasses, although the water carafe is empty at the moment, and a handful of mini-disc kind of cartridges that are strewn on the sides as if left by someone.
I'll pick up the mini discs.
A step down to the next door, you peer through into the darkness and see a administration office. Opening the door and peering inside, you see pictures of families and documents piled in neat, organised piles, as well as the remains of 2 personnel.
Remains of.
2 personnel.
Do they? Is it lit in this area? IR goggles, so I can see. And I've got my Vibe Shetty out, and I'm assuming the rest of you guys are reasonably.
Yeah, like
near
at this
well.
point, I'm not just like staring through the thing at this corpse. I've kind of come back, and now we're all, I suppose, vaguely in the same corridor. I'm going to be moving Phipps around to give people light as necessary.
I mean, I'm kind of joining you in the darkness.
They might have cards. They might have ID.
Are they dressed like, I peek around the corner, are they dressed like scientists?
Let's find out.
Also, does it look like these are like prepared graves for people? Like they've been laid,
laid
to rest?
to die.
Because
They
if
died
they've got
somewhere else and were dragged here and left.
yeah, and also because like they've already got like piles of their documents, right? Is this something where someone has gone out of respect, like
Family photos nearby.
yeah?
One of these is dressed in what appears to be kind of workman overalls that makes you think that they are some kind of engineer type role within the facility. The other, similarly, but more like in scrubs, and with not a lab coat, but you wonder whether they might be some kind of like nutritionalist or someone, again, within the HR department who's looking after the well-being of this crew. This does not look like they have been placed here in any kind of way to honour them. It looks like they have been eviscerated and their stomachs have exploded out. And you can see that their small and large intestines kind of litter and move away from them as if some kind of creature or being or thing crawled from within the stomach and the door was locked or shut.
Oh,
So
fair.
they're in here?
I love that that's got the vibe of a lightsaber, but actually it's just a vibrating machete.
It's like
It sounds like a lightsaber.
Yeah, exactly.
it's like
Sounds like a change.
It's an analog plasma sword.
what you need is like a cord just on it.
Yeah, I'm casting around the room looking for facehuggers, head crabs, like stuff.
Something that
They're clearly dead. Their guts exploded everywhere. So I'm right now. Kablenz is near the bodies, tapping down the pockets.
Surely,
Machete around.
if something's exploded out of them, is there like a trail of something coming from the entrails and leading in a direction?
Want to peer down and have a look?
Yeah, sure, why not?
You're immune to fear,
throw
so
common
Yeah.
sense out the window.
Also, we need to get you guys to decontamination. For sure.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
Don't eat anything.
Why would
Don't
we?
drink that coffee.
Exactly. You don't know what's in the coffee.
It's a mimic.
I don't think it's a
That is-
Arabica
it
bean,
could
is
be.
all I'm saying.
okay, so you're looking at the. Oh, yeah, because it would leave blood trails, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If it crawled out.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm following it. I'm just seeing if there is.
You peer down and investigate more closely. Initially, you see that there is a smear of like blood, gore, and bile that seems to like pull itself across the ground, and then it disappears immediately. But you've got keen eyes, and you spot that what happens is you think something has crawled out, and then a series of legs have come down. You see a sharp set of points in the blood, and then it has lifted its body up. And then you watch as these points move towards, look back towards the doorway, and you can see that they have hit the door and they've climbed. And all of you stop to look up. And each of you sees, hanging from the ceiling, these three kind of insectoid, multi-shaped body parts, similar to an insect, but not arranged in any way that an insect should be. No body, head, end. Like the legs themselves seem to grow directly out of the head area, and then what hangs beneath is kind of like a series of interconnected nodules, more like when a plant growth grows in stages and stops. I need all of you to roll me a panic check save.
Panic?
Panic save. You are going to roll your D20.
Oh.
And you need to roll above your current stress.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
Above only.
I'm going to use my ability as a teamster to roll that with advantage, which I can do once, because I got a 2.
Teamster.
Yeah. So you hear a slight
Oh.
and then recomposure.
None of you panic. These creatures, that's not the right word for them, entities hanging from the ceiling move as the light flashes across them, move fast, scatter towards you.
Uh-oh.
I would like Jimmy, your character, Alessa, I would like you to make a panic check, please.
Again?
Sorry, make a stress check. Make a panic check.
Again.
As one of these creatures rushes directly towards you.
Pass.
You do not panic. These large, thin claws attempt to pierce around you, but you move quickly out of the way and get, as they are unable to find purchase, as it's like dropping down and crawling towards you, and you knock it away. Another coming towards you. Panic check.
I save.
Oh, no, that definitely doesn't hit. Same thing. This one attempts to like clear on and pierce into you, but your armor does gets in the way and stops it. And finally, panic check.
So is there 3 of these?
Yeah, that's fine.
God, absolute rubbish rolls. You back away just as it darts towards you, like in a moment of stress and worry, as it kind of... what would all of you like to do? You are very much adjacent to these creatures.
Oh.
I'm going to vibe it. Try to.
I want to just try and drive my newfound knife, straight through it.
Sweet. Attack. Combat check.
Yeah, vibe shetty.
Combat check.
I'm trying to leave the room personally.
I'm going to shoot it.
With,
Lady Lorelei.
which is,
Would any of them work closer range?
what is your gun?
That's the machine gun, right?
Machine
kind
gun,
of
yeah.
gun?
the
Machine gun.
General purpose machine gun.
If you were to shoot a machine gun in this space against these creatures, there is a very strong likelihood that you will hit your friends.
If I use any of my weaponry.
Do you have a shotgun?
I do not have a
Do you have
shotgun.
a pistol?
No. Alright. Then the
Yeah,
best
what about
chance.
the Gorse rifle, right? You know, the Gorse rifle's like one shot.
No, but that's much.
Has much less collateral damage.
Yeah,
you're right.
I would then like to move out of the room, like fall back, and try and move out of the room to gain a more advantageous position.
So I succeeded
Yeah,
on that.
I'm definitely trying to fall back.
Fall back. Fall back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. The two of you succeeded on combat. Well, one of you succeeded. Yes.
I did not succeed.
I did.
Shouldn't have given kid a knife.
Roll me your damage with your vibe shetty. So 3d10, I believe.
That is 12 points of vibe damage.
It feels less cool.
They're weak to vibe.
It bites in, and there is a mashing, lacerating sound, like a chainsaw getting stuck in hardwood. It tears, it rips, and it seems to have done some form of damage to it. I would like you to roll on the damage table. Getting into some combat right in the last half an hour. Where is it? I think it's roll me a d10.
Me?
Yeah. 2. And roll me another one.
Another one. 6.
I'm looking for his right here. A 2. And a 6. You managed to sever off 4 of the scuttling legs as pulp and bile splatters against your clothing and the floor and starts to sizzle. The 3 of you move back away into the corridor. This is a tight and close space. You are close to the things that you might want to fight or avoid, but you are in an office block. This is not a good battlefield. Faced only with 2 targets, and one of them angry and bloodied. Were blood a thing, they will attempt and focus their attacks on the 2 of you.
Guess who doesn't have much health?
Run!
Guess who has all the health?
12 health.
We should maybe swap positions.
That is a success.
I didn't think you'd run.
I couldn't shoot without risk. I didn't want to
That is a
risk an
success.
ally.
And so those were both against. One of those was against you. One of those was against you, and then the damaged one. That is a success. The 2 that are undamaged rush towards you and attempt to pierce you with the long spikes of their leg parts. You feel it go through. Do either of you have any armor? What is your armor?
My armour is
What's your
my
armor?
hazard suit, which is AP 5.
AP 5. If they do less than 5 to to you, you are fine. If they do more than 5, you will take the rest of the damage, and your armor will become useless. That is 13 points of piercing damage. So you would take 8 from your HP. Do you have any armor?
No, I've got heavy duty work clothes. I'm guessing is no armor.
Let's call it AP1.
Okay.
Yeah, my scrubs are AP1, so.
Heavy duty work clothes, scrubs.
Rip
Same
your dungarees in
thing.
half.
Same
That
purpose.
is 16 on the dice. So you're going to take 15.
I'm wounded.
Take a wound. I would like you to.
Damn.
I rolled very badly for HP.
I would like you to roll me a panic check.
Okay. Well, I'm rolling that. Nat 20.
Success.
Does it gate the health, or do I go? You say 16,
It carries over. 15.
15. Okay, so -1 because of my armor.
It was 16 and then
Oh,
minus
okay.
the 1.
So 15, 3, 9 health into my first wound.
The other one, the damaged one, seeing, or not, you feeling the pincers, this kind of like scutters strangely sideways in, and unable to push itself up in the way that it wants to try and pierce you. You watch as the segment at the bottom flicks up. And you would recognize this had you seen it when you've run. What appears to protrude out of the bottom is a long, thin, white spine that shoots out and stings you. Take 3 points of damage, and I need you to roll a body save.
Okay. Down to 4
It's poison
HP.
Body save. Right.
Use the big ball. Come on, roll bad.
The one time we all want low.
Guys, we'll stop.
20. This thing is evil. It's like 99, 84, 72. 20. Yeah, it's 20.
Success. You are not slowed, but you feel of spiky poison juts into your bloodstream. What would you all like to do in this moment?
I'm gonna run the fuck out of there and tell him to
Why the-
shoot something
Why the
while running.
Okay.
I'm only a mechanic.
Move out the way.
I move out of the way.
Yeah, the Teamsters just run.
I mean, seeing as you said earlier, shout if you need a gun. Can I take a gun?
Do you shout?
I mean, I'm right next to you. We backed out of the room
I said
together.
to shout.
Oh. I need a gun!
You can have Duchess Dahlia,
Okay.
which is the rail gun.
Okay. Alright.
It has been named. You should treat your rifle with respect.
I need your character out, just your bullets.
I think I've continued my fall back towards the reception area.
I'm going to give them cover. Given they've gone out of the room, I would then like to make a shot on one of them, as my allies have left the immediate vicinity of them.
You've run back into the admin reception. You've done the same. Was that what you said?
Yeah, backing up and grabbing the gun.
And taking the gun off of him,
Just
running
start.
through and past, trying to get well clear.
Quick question. What does a stim pack do?
Great question. Probably heals you in some way.
Because that's what I was assuming.
Does it heal a wound?
Probably not. I think you can only heal wounds by having downtime.
How much time we got on our hands?
Yeah.
Downtime involves like going off planet and chilling out and
Oh,
Got the ship.
It's not off planet. We. Oh damn it! Remember, we chose.
Stim pack is somewhere in here. It heals you somehow. Up to the top of that wound.
Up to the top of that,
So each of your wounds has that
Has it-
amount of health.
oh yeah.
So to
just
full health, then.
So it would
Okay.
take you back up to the full health. If you haven't lost a wound, you would go back up.
Okay, yeah. So I will use one of the stim packs as I'm running as fast as I can away from that.
Cool. What are you doing?
I'm running. I'm just going to keep running.
Cool.
I'm going to keep running. I'm going to get behind.
Wow, me.
Old doctor, heal me!
You step back, move through. You move into firing range, hefting down the heavy machine gun and drop it. As you watch, initially you don't know where to aim because they could come from below or side. As you watch, the sort of kind of like one of them kind of scuttles in round the side of the doorway. Another comes like the limping one kind of comes round on the floor level, and you see this trail of bile as you unload. I want you to run me a combat check.
Success.
Success. Loud, heavy hail of explosive gunfire. Roll me whatever the damage
It
is.
is 40-10 with advantage.
Cool, so
well.
you roll them twice.
That's good. We'll take 23 points of gun damage.
Gun damage.
Because I can aim around corners, I aim it around the corner of the door frame. And I aim it at the wounded one.
You spray, I mean it's machine gun fire, it's just sprayed in the general direction of it. The wounded one splatters away, and you watch as both of the other ones take a huge amount of damage. They are not dead, but their scuttling towards you has been halted by this incredible burst of power.
As they went, get out of here! Head to the ship direction, we'll reconvene.
As you shout backwards and look down the corridor as these two scuttling things kind of move back into the room, you hear a heavier, louder sound. A kind of pulling, dragging, serpentine in some respects, like the sound of a large reptile snake pulling a body, and underpinning that, or rather sitting over the top of that, a high, sharp sound, like someone dragging a sword or a scythe along a metal wall. It rings the panels, and you watch, moving around the corner, drawn by the shouting, the firing, and the vast amount of discussion that has gone on in this building. A huge reptile-like insectoid hybrid. It looks like a hooded serpent, except it has 8 compound eyes like a spider, and a brown-purple carapace. To the side, just off from this strange kind of hooded head, these 2 segmented, long, scythe-like appendages stand out, and below it, similar to the creatures you've just come across, like these 2 kind of stunted little half legs that have been abandoned, no longer necessary. Thin and narrow, as these 2 scythes kind of hold along and pull along the walls, and as it kind of pulls up into the air above you, you watch as the hooded head opens in 4 directions, and you see jagged, teeth-like wooden bone spikes that jut out as it goes. Need to roll me a panic check.
Panic. I succeed.
Things look juicy. We don't have time to finish that, sadly. So we're going to end the stream there. We are deep within the Shenkoa research facility. And some pretty horrible and horrific things are likely to happen. But not tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for Mothership this evening. We still have one more game left to play tonight. We'll be back here in about half an hour to play 10 Candles, another survival horror. This time, you will all die, because you have to. You've been watching this Gameplay Weekender stream. Thank you so much for joining us. Check out our other videos if you're watching us on YouTube or online. And if you're watching us live right now, stay with us for a bit more horror and desiccation to come. Thank you so much. Thank you to my players, and see you again soon.